That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, there, YouTube finally decided to cooperate.
There we go.
All right. We are live. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 208. Your once weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
I'm Steve.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, usually some Star Trek. All super chats are read on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize my channel. And if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat and we'll give some shout outs as we go along. And last but not least, if you like the content you see on this channel and want to help support us in what we do, consider going over to craftcomputing.store, picking up some merch, or subscribing to the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to the Discord server, where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and take part in the awesome and ever-growing community that hangs out over there.
They do hang out quite a bit.
They're always there.
Always there.
Always
Constantly.
watching.
They keep texting me and texting me. No,
Yep. Great group of people over there.
no, they are. They are really great.
William's got a dragon's milk going on today. You know what?
Ooh, dragon's milk. We're thinking about getting one of those.
I almost snagged a dragon's milk tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Never a bad choice, that one, Eric.
Yeah.
Dragon's milk is absolutely delicious.
Yep. Steve, what are you drinking this fine evening?
Well, I think I'm going to go the route of the IPA this evening. Well, mostly IPA, I should say.
Yep.
So for first, I have Kaleidoscope. Now, this is a beer by Celestial Beer Works, and they're from Texas. They're in Texas, Dallas, Texas, I believe. And it is a double India Pale Ale. I don't think this is a hazy. This is just a standard IPA, but it's got a hop in there I've never seen before. It's hopped with Galaxy and Rakau, I think, Rakau, and Victoria's Secret. I've had Galaxy and Victoria's Secret, but the Rakau I've never heard of that one before.
That's a new one for me.
Yeah, I know that there's a whole bunch of new ones that keep coming out, but that's a new one. And next, I have Synonymous, which is a New England, a hazy. It's by Kushwa Brewing Company. And this has just got your standard Citra and Eldorado hops in there. But it's a highly, highly rated beer. I'm not too sure where Kushwa's at. Maryland, maybe, I think?
Yeah, that's another one I'm not familiar with.
And then, yeah, I know, neither have I. It was a Travor purchase,
okay.
So I got it from there. And last but not least, I decided to totally mix it up and not even have a beer for my last one, if we get to the last one, because sometimes we don't.
Yep.
Is a Cosmic Crisp cider, which is an imperial cider. I haven't had a cider in a long time, and it sounded good. It's made with Cosmic Crisp apples, which I've never had. A Cosmic Crisp apple.
Nice.
I've had Golden Delicious and Golden Crisps and whatever, but I've never heard of Cosmic Crisp.
One of these days, I need to figure out why Zoom puts this little preview window.
It's floating
every freaking time. I forget to remove it, and every freaking time I go to this view, it's on this. Like, I already have it full screen. I don't need to see me. I don't need to stop it. Just go away. Every dang time. Tonight, I figured, you know what? It's November. Let's break out the stouts. It's stout season.
November. Stoutvember.
It is Stoutvember.
Yes.
Probably not for very long, but at least today is going to be Stoutvember for me. So I've got two stouts up in front of me today. First up, a pretty standard release here in Oregon that shows up about the last 2 months of the year, every single year. That is Fort George's Kavatica Stout.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic, and
it is a good one.
Pretty much an example of what just a standard stout should be. If you are a brewery, small brewery, big brewery, this is what you aim for before you do anything else.
Yeah.
And to put that claim to the test, I have another Oregon brewery in Crux Brewing. I have the new Crux Stout, which I had never seen before.
Is that a new label? Because I could have swore they had a stout before. I've had a lot of Crux.
I've had a lot of Crux. I don't ever recall having a stout from them. But yeah, 7.7%. So, entry level dark beer territory.
Let me see. Let me check Untapped here. Crux.
Have we tried any coffee beers? Not only have we tried like coffee infused stouts and whatnot, Rogue makes a cold brew IPA that's freaking amazing.
Oh yeah.
So yes, no, we are lovers of coffee and beer and coffee beer, as it turns
coffee
out
beers
over
are
here.
Excellent. Yes. I've made several coffee stouts before in the past too.
Yep.
With mitigating success. Some of it's good, some of it's one of them turned sour. Yep. A coffee beer that turned sour.
Inderjeet says we need to review the Romulan Ale or Cardassian Canar. What I will say is I've had a couple different variants of the Romulan Ale before. I don't think I've had the current one that's going around, because there's like a 6-pack of like malt liquor Romulan Ale. I don't expect too much out of it other than the fact that it's blue. But I do have 2 bottles of the Canar coming from StarTrekWines.com.
Nice.
So I will be trying the Canar at some point. I've also still have a bottle of Klingon blood wine up here. So
actually, I looked it up, and it looks like the Crux Stout, because I had it before, but in Nitro and at Crux Brewery.
So I wonder if they just finally started canning it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And I appeared to have liked it. I gave it 4, and I said it's like the Fast and the Furious, but in beer form. So that's...
That was not your first beer review of the night, was it, Steve?
No. It's like family. When you drink it, it's like family.
Yeah. Well done. I Hobgoblin sends over €5. €5. Hi, Jeff. I'm drinking Glenlivet First Fill 12-year single malt Scotch. I do love a good Glenlivet Scotch. They're typically one of my go-tos, especially in the, like, I don't want to spend $80, but I still want like a solid single malt or, Glenlivet 12 or something like that. Those are one of my go-to bottles. So that sounds delicious, and I hope you enjoy. Andrew's drinking GTS Synergy Trilogy Kombucha. Nice. I saw Ricky Spanish. By the way, I freaking love that name. Ricky Spanish. Coffee EMS dispatching right now. So yeah, coffee. Good on ya.
Good.
Emil's drinking a gin and tonic. Jason's got an iced tea going on. Michael's got a 14.75% eggnog. That sounds amazing.
Wow, that sounds nice.
I actually cracked open the first bottle of eggnog here at the house literally Sunday morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally like eggnog too. But I don't know. I guess the brand that I got is just a little too heavy on the nutmeg. It was like very nutmeggy forward. So
which one did
I might
you
go
get?
Back to.
Do you remember?
It wasn't the Lutherans. I think it was the Alpenrose.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah. So yeah, I first one I cracked open was the Evan Williams eggnog.
The Evan Williams stuff.
You can get it in just about any liquor store. It's about $10 for a fifth of it. It goes quick because you pour tall glasses of it. So, you'll essentially get 2 pints if you pour it in pints. But fantastic way to start the season. Costco dropped their eggnog this last week, so I came home with 3 bottles of that.
And it's good for you too,
right?
And low in calories.
Right, exactly. Like if I'm gonna drink, I might as well.
All right.
So we're starting out with the Fort George Kavatka Stout, which I believe is 8.2. I want to say it's also not a 8.8. Yeah, it's also not a super heavy stout.
Yeah, it's not like overly roasty.
Right.
It definitely has some roasty malt flavors, which are very well balanced, if I remember right.
Crux has the Nitro and the Blonde Stout as well. You know, I do remember hearing something about the Blonde Stout, but again, I've never seen it in can form. And I've personally never gotten over to the Crux Brewery. So.
Oh, no. Crux, that's when I go to Bend.
Yeah.
That's like my number one destination.
I've been to
I always hit up Crux.
I've been to like 7 or 8 breweries over in Bend, if not more. But Crux is just one that I've never swung into. And it's not...
Yeah.
Was not my intention to skip them. It just there's 7 or 8 or 12 other breweries worth going to on a
there's
weekend
tons.
trip.
There's tons. Well, they have that Bend Ale Trail.
Yeah,
that's sponsored by I think the Chamber of Commerce, where you can like stamp and get stamp every brewery you visit.
Right,
and then you get some kind of prize at the end. I don't know what the prize is anymore. When I did it, it was like some silicone glass that made the beer taste funny whenever you tried to use it. It was not good.
Yeah.
But I did it. I went and hit all the breweries at the time.
Yeah.
Now, I think there's probably at least 4 or 5 more.
Oh, at least. Yeah.
I haven't hit. Yeah, at least.
One thing I love about the Crux, or about the Fort George, that head.
Mm-hmm.
I mean.
Oh yeah. That nice, just creamy,
stands up on its own.
Yep.
I mean, it's
stick a fork in its stout.
It's at least ½ inch above the rim of the glass. Mm-hmm. So good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the news. Starting with that Microsoft is getting into the video and audio editing business inside of Microsoft Office.
Which is kind of weird.
Right?
I mean, I guess when they were talking, I read the article, if you read the article, but some of it kind of makes sense. So like one of the, examples they give, you're making a PowerPoint presentation. Mm-hmm. Now you can pre-record the audio, and then so you can have the audio edit, and you edit the audio with the slide advancements and stuff like that. So, for people who don't want to have to, if you give a live demonstration, then you like have the audio edited with the thing afterwards that you can distribute to people. Okay, I get something like that. Having the controls in there like that built into it makes sense. But it's not like I'm gonna like edit a video in Microsoft Excel or anything like that. I mean, I can see the application in some things, but not all Office products.
Right. I will say, I read this article, and then I got to thinking, going, what is Microsoft trying to accomplish here? Yeah. Because this kind of entry isn't exactly like firing across the bow of Adobe or Apple or anything like that.
No.
I mean, even Microsoft Office has taken a massive hit as far as user base in the last 10 years with the advent of Google Drive and some other non-centralized applications of the sort. But I'm just not quite sure what they're aiming at here. Because
I'm not too sure either.
PowerPoint is still used, Excel is still used, but while they had a pretty decent entry into entry-level video editing with Windows Movie Maker and Movie Maker 2, those really haven't been around since Vista. And no one's exactly clamoring for Microsoft to enter that field either.
No.
So, I'm just not quite.
That's what this article kind of baffled me, because I was trying to come up with a use case for it, and I really couldn't think of anything that made sense to me. I guess the PowerPoint thing does make sense, but the rest of it doesn't really. I mean, the article does go on to say it's not just video editing tools and sound editing tools that they're putting into it. I guess they're doing some more context-sensitive AI experiences. So, like, with an Outlook, if you're going to be setting up a meeting and you already have your invites, it will suggest a time based on everybody else's calendar to see who's free. It's like, hey, we suggest this time because everybody's free. Stuff like that. And another thing that I thought was like, okay, it's about time, is they are actually putting in JavaScript for the development backend for Excel, which for the longest time they've had VBA,
right?
Which is pretty rudimentary. It's not. I mean, I've seen some people do some real impressive stuff with it.
Yeah.
but it's very limited in what you can
But it's
do
called Visual Basic.
Yeah, Visual Basic for applications. That's what the A stands for. For the applications.
Right.
So, having JavaScript integrated in there, it could do some really powerful stuff with it.
I'm kind of surprised it took this long to integrate JavaScript, because JavaScript is already a backbone of how Microsoft saves their documents and keeps formatting when you save. The difference between saving a .doc and a .docx is that a .docx is saved using JavaScript, and
it's insides, it's innards with both Excel and Word,
right?
They're just XML files inside there. If you actually take a XLSX or docx file, rename it to .zip, you can open it up and look at its guts.
Yeah.
You can go inside there and edit it if you dare. But yeah, I mean, like even third-party like tools that are used for generating Word documents and Excel documents, they're just XML markup language libraries that basically just spit it out in their format.
Yeah. And
JavaScript is used to manipulate that. So
right.
Yeah, I thought for sure they would go away from VBA and go like integrate maybe C# with it, which is their more popular language.
Right.
But
or
I don't know.
Or even go PowerShell and just bash ahead with it. But
yeah.
Right. I've always been confused on why. Well, sorry. No, let me back up. I know why they haven't updated from VBA as far as their API backend goes, and it's because. Have you ever ran like Microsoft Office 1.0 or 2.0?
Oh yeah. Old.
They're strikingly similar.
Yeah, I know. I think what it is a lot of backwards compatible support.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people did a lot of VBA integration with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to strip it out entirely.
Mm-hmm.
That would be foolish. But to have a separate language that's going to be a little more powerful, I think makes more sense.
No, I absolutely agree. I know my brother-in-law at one point had written a VBA program that would use Excel as a backend for D&D character creation.
And you just click a button.
And it'll tell you, if your stats are within the rules. And when he programmed the entirety of the rules and spat out an Excel form that you could type your character stats into, and it says either approved or denied, and it'll tell you why, if you're over in some stats. And it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But using VBA.
Mm-hmm. I mean, VBA it's all right. It's just I've done stuff with it before in the past.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not. You're not gonna be making the next groundbreaking application with it.
Right.
I think it's good because people are, when you work in an office and you got the lady working at the front desk, they're comfortable with Excel. Mm-hmm. So writing something around Excel, they're like, oh, I know how to use this,
right.
And then they're more comfortable use it. Where you write something from the ground up, you're like, I hate this.
Yep. All right. Let's move on to I don't remember if we talked specifically about Team-Xecuter in the past. I know there's been some news around this. So Team-Xecuter is a group of people who got very well known for circumventing piracy controls on the Nintendo Switch, as well as a couple other pieces of hardware. Nintendo Switch was one of their big claims to fame. I believe they were some of the first ones behind the 3DS pirate carts that you could get that would bootload a 3DS with any game that you wanted. Trying to remember I think there was like a Stargate cart, I think was the first one that they developed, and then they had a couple of more as well. But anyway, Nintendo rooted them out and is suing a good number of them. Not only suing, but throwing criminal charges at a good number of them. And the first to fall has been member Gary Bowser.
An ironic name.
I'm not making that up, by the way. Which is also really funny because the current Nintendo president's last name is also Bowser. But right now, enemy number one for Nintendo seems to be Bowser. he has pled guilty to quote, trafficking in circumvention devices, also known as selling custom firmware that enabled piracy.
Yep.
So here's a lesson to all you up and coming hackers. Now, number one, he's facing 10 years in prison and $4.5 million in damages. He's 52 years old. Canadian named Gary Bowser, member of the hacking group Team-Xecuter, was arrested in 2020. Here's a lesson to all you up and coming hackers. Hacking is not a crime. Selling what you've done could be.
That usually is. And that's what happens to most piracy people when they get caught.
Right.
It's like, yeah, you can distribute this stuff for free, and people sometimes they'll swat it down, sometimes they won't. But if you start making money from that, that's when the studios and
it's not even making money.
Get pissed.
It's making money directly from the proceeds of selling bypass things, because now you are taking money directly out of Nintendo's pocket. Regardless of your stance on that, which I believe custom firmware and bootloading and reflashing and unlocking consoles should be 100% legal. Especially once a console goes end of life, because that's a way to preserve games. I'm very, very interested and enthusiastic about game preservation, although not involved with it myself. I know a couple of people in the industry who are. But preserving games and being able to play them on original hardware, not through emulators and not through weird, secondary methods, but being able to just boot up a game on an original Xbox is important. It's important for preservation. It's important so we know what came before us, and we can go back to those games if we want to. But where you cross the line is when you sell a product that directly competes with what is currently available. Yeah. Now, right now, you can go on Amazon and you can buy an EverDrive for the Nintendo 64, pop in an SD card, and play every single Nintendo 64 ROM under the sun on your original hardware. And there's not a lot Nintendo is doing about that. And they're for sale on Amazon. There's also bootleg cartridges for sale on Amazon and AliExpress and various other sites. Nintendo's not going after them because it's really not hurting their bottom line right now. But when Team-Xecuter went after the Nintendo 3DS and developed a flash cart that bypassed the authentication of licensed Nintendo cartridges and allowed you to boot backups of stolen ROMs, that was a problem. And that took money directly out of Nintendo's pocket. And they did the same thing on the Switch with, I'm trying to remember.
I forgot the name of it. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a bypass device for the Switch and also developed custom firmware for it. And that's what nailed them. Is hacking is not a crime. Hacking the hardware itself is not a crime. Sharing your findings is not a crime. It's reverse engineering, and reverse engineering is protected by the DMCA. So long as it's clean room reverse engineering, and that's a whole nother discussion. But reverse engineering hardware and software and protections is protected by the DMCA, as long as you do not use it for monetary gain. Because once it's monetary gain, you are profiting off of that company's intellectual property.
It's true.
Ryan sends over $5. Wish I could hang. Currently enjoying an REO Speedwagon concert in Peoria. I have a good stream. Well, go enjoy your concert. What the hell are you doing here?
Take it to the run, baby.
That's awesome.
Just don't let it go.
REO Speedwagon. I was going to say, what is this, 1996 again?
I think REO Speedwagon was before that.
Yeah,
that was like late 80s.
Yeah.
I still like REO Speedwagon.
Oh,
they're good.
So do I.
Yeah. They're good. They're a good karaoke go-to.
Time for Ryan Sharp to fly.
Yeah.
I think that's about all I can sum up on that. Yeah, Gary was arrested in 2020. He was sued by Nintendo, charged criminally, and now he's facing 10 years in prison and $4.5 million in damages. And that's just him individually, not including other members of the Team-Xecuter group.
And he was arrested in the Dominican Republic. Yeah. I bet there's a story behind that somewhere.
Right.
Trying to set up some offshore shell account or something. I have no idea.
Yeah.
He comes up. Is this a place where he set up the offshore accounts?
Yeah. He was arrested in the Dominican Republic and extradited to the U.S. to face 11 felony counts, including wire fraud and money laundering.
Probably should have looked up if there was extraditing in the place you go to set up your offshore account.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Guam might have been a great destination. I don't know.
I don't know if there's any extraditing in Guam.
I'm not a lawyer. Seek one out before you buy tickets to Guam.
Turks and Caicos. So go there.
Turkmenistan.
Turkmenistan would be good. Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijani
spot.
Arrested in a Bowser costume? Probably. I mean,
no, he was dressed in a Toad costume so no one would recognize him.
No. Oh, sorry, that was actually a typo. He was arrested in a Bowsette costume.
Bowsette, yeah.
And I'm sorry if you get that reference.
That would be awesome if it was a guy dressed in a Mario costume that arrested him. It would be better.
It's me, your worst nightmare.
You have the right to remain silent.
Okay.
All right, we'll just do a little bit of lighter beating.
Gary Bowser was quoted, "Wah!" Craft Computing, do you play a lawyer on TV? No, but I did say at a Holiday Inn Express last night. So
it's close enough.
Close enough. Drake says, "Hey, Craft Computing, hope you are well. Thank you very much. I appreciate the good wishes." All right, moving right along here. Facebook's Connect event was last week, Thursday morning at 8 a.m. So it's we couldn't talk about it. But some interesting stuff to come out of there, some of which we will get to a little later on in the show. But we're going to start with the hardware side of things, in which Facebook teased a little bit, gave us a tip, if you will, as to what their latest...
They gave us just the tip.
Just the tip. Just a little tease as to their upcoming high-end VR headset coming sometime in 2022, and that is Project Cambria. There's a couple of things that we can see right off the bat that make me rather excited. Number one is it is a much slimmer design. They've got the screen much, much closer to your head itself, meaning that center of balance is possibly going to be a little bit further in. You won't get all that weight sitting right on your nose. Instead, it might be balanced a little bit more towards the back of your head or even towards the center, which would be fantastic. Number two, in some of the renders, which unfortunately we don't have on this particular article, they moved the battery to the rear of the headset. So again, that bringing in that LCD screen in towards your head and then adding a battery pack to the back, that is going to help center the gravity in the center of your head and make it a much more comfortable, much less cumbersome, and more natural feeling device.
Right.
Secondly, the device, because it appears to be a lot thinner, there's some speculation going around that they may be doing away with Fresnel lenses. Now, Fresnel lenses are what give you essentially the ability to see the LCD screen that's so close to your face, within 3 to 4 inches of your face. Because, try putting your hand 3 to 4 inches away from your face, and
it's a blurry mess.
And you can't focus on it.
Yeah.
So the Fresnel lens takes care of a lot of that, and condenses the image or expands the image to a point where you can see it and focus on it with your eyes. There are downsides to Fresnel lenses, though, and one of them is God rays, which almost every single VR headset suffers from. So they were actually when they had previously discussed Project Cambria, they actually mentioned specifically using pancake lenses, which are a much thinner, they are more expensive, but much thinner solution that do not have the same inherent problems that Fresnel lenses do. And this would be one of the first VR headsets to use one. There is another VR headset out there, and I always forget the name of this thing. Yeah, it's not coming to me.
I can't remember.
But it's about $6,000.
Oof.
Now,
yeah, that's a big oof.
Now, it's beautiful. Like, there's no screen door, there's no God rays, and everything just looks, like, perfect. But it's also $6,000.
Yeah.
The idea that this may have a similar resolution, field of view, etc., of that higher tier headset, and I should have looked up the name of it beforehand, I apologize, is pretty exciting. Now, we have no specs. We have only a couple of teaser renders, but there's actually quite a bit that we can pull out of that. So, the fact that we really haven't gotten a flagship VR update since late 2019 with the Valve Index makes me kind of excited. You know, we're starting to see some next steps coming out. I mean, we saw the announcement / quasi release of the PAX 12K. There's Project Cambria. There's the Valve Index. There's a couple other players that are starting to come into the space. Future is bright for VR. I think it's finally reached a mass point where I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but it still needs both an enthusiast market to drive innovation and a consumer and entry-level market to drive mass adoption. So they have to fight it on both fronts. And everyone, I love how people complain when they're like, Valve Pro or Vive Pro 2 for $1,200. Who wants to pay that? The same people who gladly drop $1,500 on a graphics card. Like,
yeah, those people
ain't no sweat.
They want it. Yeah.
Right. Did you realize at one point I built a full sit-down sim racing rig? And mine was like dirt simple. It was PVC pipe and plywood with a chair out of an '88 GMC Jimmy. So I actually had a car chair in it.
Real car seat.
A real bucket seat.
I remember that thing.
Yep, that was fun.
Yeah, it
was a lot of fun. But I was still into that rig like $700. It's not really crazy when you think about it. And enthusiasts will buy that kind of thing.
Oh, they will.
So having another high-end VR headset option is definitely enticing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they already kind of captured the low-end market with the Oculus Quest 2, which is relatively inexpensive and reachable VR experience for just the layman. People who just want to pop on a headset and try some VR stuff. So this could be the next or maybe medium step up from that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if, like you said, they're going to use the pancake lenses to keep it reasonable. They might go with the waffle lenses, a little cheaper. The Eggo waffle lenses.
Yeah, you and your dad jokes that are even worse than me and my dad jokes.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yep. In other news, today's video has a sponsor, and of course, that sponsor is Linode. Thank you so much, Linode, for sponsoring today's episode. If you've never needed to host your own servers, whether it be for home or business use, but just don't have the time or resources to invest into hardware, power, cooling, or even space, why not let Linode host them for you? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes most of the software tutorials for my channel, like how to run your own ad-blocking recursive DNS server, VPN gateway, your own cloud-based Plex server, and more. Linode makes it simple to manage and deploy your own cloud services, with solutions ranging from a single shared CPU to massive multi-core virtual machines. They even offer dedicated RTX 6000 GPUs for graphic rendering or machine learning. With shared CPU plans starting at as little as $5 per month and scaling up to as high as you need to go, you'll be able to find a hosting plan that fits your needs. And even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site, because remember, RAID is not a backup. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. That's linode.com/craftcomputing, and thank you again to Linode for paying for Steve's beer.
Praise be Linode. All power to the cloud.
One thing that I do want to mention, and Linode didn't even pay for this bit, that I actually got an email from Linode, and they mentioned that they recently just did a full NVMe upgrade. Like, all of it.
Oh, really?
Like, all of it.
All of it's NVMe now, huh?
Right.
Wow.
They're offering NVMe block storage now, which is pretty flippin' cool.
That is really cool.
So, yeah. I don't recall if it's going to be on its own tier or if it's all tiers that are going to get NVMe block level storage, but the fact that they're offering it is pretty insane if you've ever looked at NVMe block storage prices. Oh, and there's going to be no additional cost for NVMe block storage. So,
wow.
Yeah. Vario Aereo. There we go. Or Varho. Yeah, the headset name. There we go.
Oh, that Varho Aereo. Okay.
It's 5,800 and change, 5,895 or some crap like that. It's purple. It has like 12 cameras on the front of it. Works with Steam VR.
That's good.
But I guess it has it's a QLED screen with like a 2560 resolution, but then it also has a 1024 by 1024 OLED screen at the center, with like zero micron between the pixels. Wow.
So it's crystal clear,
right?
VR headset.
Hey Zachary, did you type one too many zeros? Just let me know if you typed one too many zeros, because holy crap, dude. That's wow, bro.
Whoa,
bro.
Oh man.
Zach, what do you want to talk about? The floor is yours.
You want to call in and be a guest?
Micro LED. Sorry. Not yeah. Yeah, Steve, get out of here.
Yeah, sorry.
Holy crap, Zach. All I can say is thank you and cheers, my friend.
Wow.
For those on the podcast, Zachary Solis just dropped $500 in a super chat.
That is probably our biggest super chat.
I think it is. I know I've gotten a couple 200s before, but I don't think I've ever gotten 500.
Zach,
before.
you're breaking down walls, man.
Well, that one's not going down for a while.
I know.
Skull says. We'll be in the after party, and that icon will still be up there.
Yeah, that means the floor is his. Anything, if he says you're gonna do another tequila and peppermint schnapps shot,
you know, I've got tequila and peppermint schnapps. I'll do a shot of Colvin for him.
Oh, he loves my headphones. Dude, I love my Corsair Voids. They're awesome.
LOL, appropriate number of zeros. We can always chat in the after hours, but love Steve's headphones. Yeah, no, Steve brings his A game to the headphones.
Oh yeah,
so,
I love this thing.
I'm using a pair of Shure in-ear monitors, if anyone wants to know my secret. And they're actually detachable cables and all kinds of fun stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's what I use. But I think mine were only like $200. Yeah. That's the $500 pickle beer super chat, isn't it? No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, Zach, you got some opportunities now. We gotta get John over here, and you can get Jeff to go drink some pickle beers.
Nope. Still not gonna do it.
Did he give you a pickle beer? Do you actually have one?
I think I have one left in my fridge.
Okay. Did you actually drink one though?
No.
You've never tried it. Which one is it though? Tell me which one it
is.
is.
No, he didn't give me any of the ones that you guys tried. He didn't give me like the grape soda or crap like that.
No. I wasn't like if it's just the regular Martin House pickle beer, it's not that bad. There's some pickle beers that honestly kind of taste more like cucumber than anything, and they're not that bad. But some of those Martin Houses were absolutely disgusting. Oh god, they were so bad. That grape one was just horrific.
I watched that episode and lived vicariously through the camera.
That was an honest reaction to that. That was not like, oh, I tasted it before. Let's see what I'm gonna rate. No, that was like my first sip, and it was not good.
Nope, we're done.
Yeah.
Kren sends over $5 I'll sacrifice myself and go after the monster super chat. Thank you, Kren. You are also appreciated. Only $500 for a pair of in-ear monitors. Well, I did play bass professionally for like 6 or 7 or 8 years or something like that. So I had some. I had some nicer equipment. I've since sold most of my musical gear. I still have all my instruments. I've still got a couple of amps around, but yeah, I just don't play much anymore. So I still grab my baritone uke and jam on that like every day, but time for pickle face craft computing. Nope.
Yeah, that would be fun. That's gonna be a good one.
You know what? Before I even throw a challenge down, I'm going to check and make sure I have a pickle beer.
Yeah, hold on. Check it out. Yeah, those pickle beers were absolutely positively disgusting. The second one actually was, I think, the fruit punch pickle beer one. That one wasn't actually that bad. I think it was a rum barrel aged fruit punch pickle beer. There we go. Did you find it? What did you find? And it is the Martin House.
Someone's gonna have to match that donation.
No. That's
before my answer has been outright no.
I did it for free.
I know. Well, you did it for family.
I we do it for family.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. But I like trying weird stuff anyway. So I mean, that's not. It's kind of.
I like trying weird stuff, but I also know where my lane lines end. And
well, they didn't say you had to finish it. You just gotta taste it. That wasn't part of the deal.
Do you know how hesitant I am even for another 500? Like, that's how much I despise pickles. Okay. Like, Zachary drops $500 and I'm going, yeah, if someone matches that, I might open the can.
Come on.
Like,
pickles are fine.
No, I hate pickles.
Pickles never killed anybody, except for Pickle Rick.
Yeah, but that was the rats.
Yeah.
Actually, no, he kicked the crap out of the rats. It was the 32 armed guards.
Yeah, it was all the Russian mafia he killed.
500 for half? Nope, that's not the way it works. Do you realize I've had so many people ask me what's my price to drink a pickle beer, and the answer has been you don't have enough money? Yeah. I'm going to move on before I'm forced to open this damn thing.
You should honor Zach's generosity.
Then I'll open the Crux Stout, because I already finished my beer.
I haven't even finished mine yet. I gotta catch up.
Wow.
Whoa.
Jeff, just take a sniff. No, sorry. Nope.
If he cracks it open to take a sniff, he's got to have a sip, because that's just a wasted beer.
We do have pickles in my house, and me as the big strong man, I'm always asked to open the pickle jar, and my wife will hand me the jar, and every single time I say ethically I don't think I should.
Now, just to be clear, you don't like pickled anything, right? Like no pickled.
Nope.
Not pickles.
Garlic,
pickled
ginger, cucumber, asparagus. Nope. Don't care what it is. Nothing. I just don't like pickles. No pickle.
Now, is it like the saltiness to it or the vinegariness to it?
It's that combination. It's like, I don't mind vinegar. Like, I'll have vinaigrette on sandwiches and salads and whatnot. I love salt. That combination, just no. It just doesn't work for me. Like it will bring up a gag reflex. And it's involuntary.
What about sweet pickles?
Nope. I've had sweet pickles. I've had dill pickles. I've had, nope. What if we can total match the $500? If it rolls over to $1,000 on my live chat revenue, I'll consider it.
No, you have to go with the guarantee. The audience wants a guarantee.
You know, it would be a guarantee if it rolls over 4 figures, but. Salt and vinegar chips, no, like
I'm
maybe, but no.
I'm not big on salt and vinegar chips.
Like, I've had them before. I didn't like necessarily hate them. Part of it is just pickles themselves. Like, it's
because the original. I mean, salt and vinegar chips don't fly for me because the original name was douche chips. It's just it wasn't appealing. They changed the name, but they rebranded it. Just wasn't.
Do I like relish? No, I do not like relish. Don't like it on dogs. Don't like it in tuna. Don't like. And I've tried. What about pickled onions? No. If it's pickled, the answer is no. Now, I love onions. I love peppers. I love green peppers, yellow peppers, habaneros, jalapenos. Like, I love peppers. Pickled? Nope. Nope. Just like I said, something about that combination of flavors
just doesn't do it for you.
No, it's like almost an instant gag reflex. That and mushrooms. Those are my two, like, absolutely not for any amount of money. No. I just can't.
Not even fried mushrooms?
Not even fried mushrooms. Mushrooms of any kind, form, variety, I don't care.
What about mushrooms in a beef Wellington?
Nope.
They're all diced up. You wouldn't even know.
Nope.
No.
Here's how bad my reaction to mushrooms is. Okay. I went out for a lunch with a couple of CEOs and a couple of other high-end executives and whatnot. We just went to a burger place. Like, it wasn't like a high-end dinner or something like that. It was like, we went to a local fish and chips and burger kind of place, $15 burgers. Ordered a burger, and I ordered a Swiss melt, and I said, no mushrooms.
No mushrooms, right?
I cannot have mushrooms. I will burn this burger to the ground if there's mushrooms on my burger. Shows up. It's open top. There's no mushrooms to be seen. I put the top right on it, and it's got lettuce, tomato, and mayo, like everything else that a Swiss normally has, but no, but. So I put it on and take a bite. And literally the moment I crunch down, I start involuntarily gagging on my food.
Now, let me ask you, is it the texture that you don't like about
it's probably 60% texture with mushrooms. There's just something about them. They trigger that. They tickle my uvula in just the right way that make all the food want to come back up.
Because I've had some mushrooms that, there's a mushroom that kind of grows here in the Pacific Northwest that are pretty prized by mushroom hunters.
Yes.
It's called the lobster mushroom, and it's kind of trumpeted shape, and it's kind of orange in color. But honest to God, its texture and flavor is like a Maine lobster. Yeah, it is delicious, and you fry this thing up in butter. It is super good.
And I've heard a lot of people describe mushrooms as being meaty and being, whatever. For me, it is never. It's never been that. There's something about it that my mouth physically, literally cannot withstand.
I think it's the more popular mushrooms, the mushrooms you get at the grocery store, like the button mushrooms,
right,
the white portobellos and stuff like that. Or the portobellos, those are kind of. I mean, I can kind of get that. They have this kind of weird, firm, not quite marshmallowy.
Pretty much all I've ever had is portobellos. So. Yeah, Reverend says they taste like rot. Yeah, they taste like chewing on dirt. And
portobellos do. Portobellos taste like dirt.
I also have that.
White mushrooms are fine.
I also have that weird gene that makes cilantro taste like soap.
Oh,
So
yes,
I also
yes,
don't
yes.
like there's a couple of very specific flavors that I just cannot have. And it's those.
Yeah.
Like and I can deal with a little bit of cilantro. And I love, Mexican food and Hispanic food. I mean, how could I not, living in this area?
Oh God. Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh, it's absolutely delicious.
but yeah, I cannot eat mushrooms. Period. And it's not,
I mean,
and with mushrooms,
there's a
it's
lot of
not
people
even
I
a
know that don't.
like I've had mushroom soup and mushroom like sauce drizzled on things. Well, not
Mhm.
it's delicious.
Yeah.
Like that's not the problem. Yeah. Anyway, we've talked for like almost 20 minutes about my dislike for certain foods.
I mean, it's always fast to me. To me, it's fascinating anyway because I'm
Yeah.
a person who will literally try.
This is
anything.
the worst Anthony Bourdain episode ever.
Yeah, you would never be able to hang. Oh, I shouldn't say that. With Anthony Bourdain, that was a Freudian slip.
Wow.
Didn't mean to say that, but yeah, no, you wouldn't do good on food travel shows.
No.
Yeah.
Although when I go out and about and when I travel, I love to eat local cuisine. Now, I've not traveled pretty much at all outside the States, but if there's a food out there that is popular in quote unquote your neck of the woods, I've probably tried it while I was there.
Oh yeah, of course.
Deep fried Mayo balls and all.
Is that a thing?
Arkansas.
Really?
Deep fried balls of just mayonnaise. Mayonnaise that you literally drop in a deep fryer.
It sounds horrible, but
right?
I'd still try it.
Right?
Yeah, I would try it. I've heard of deep fried, what is it, butter balls and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, they do butter balls and margarine and like anything that's oil that you can drop into hotter oil and create a skin on, they'll eat it in Arkansas.
That makes sense, actually.
Had the cheese curds in Wisconsin, and I gotta say the cheese in Tillamook is better.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of people say that, and I agree. I think the cheese in Tillamook is better.
I was almost ran out of town for
saying that?
For disrespecting the great state of Wisconsin. Right.
Raw fresh fish is delicious. You like raw fish? I think it's absolutely
I
good.
will do some sushi. Now I also have a rule that I do not eat fish more than 2 hours inland.
Of course, yes. This is some of the best seafood I've had.
Right.
Was stuff that was right off of the bay, like where it was freshly caught.
I grew up a lot, like almost every other weekend. We would go to either Florence or Newport or Lincoln City or something like that. I live just barely an hour away from those places, and those are right on the beach. They're fishing towns and almost nothing but.
Yep.
And you could go to any diner in that area and you'd pay $8 for like a half of a salmon that was just like cooked to perfection, wood fire grill and all, like,
oh yeah,
oh god.
There's a place in Newport that we like going. It's right there. I think it's got a generic name like Pacific Fresh Catch or something like that. And it's right there at the docks where the boats come in. As soon as the boats come in, these guys get the first pick. So everything there is going to be like the freshest you can have outside of getting it right on the boat. Yeah. And it is some of the best.
Yeah, and then I'll fly to Chicago and they're like, would you like some halibut? Off.
It's some Great Lake halibut. Yeah. Okay.
No. Yeah. Nope. Catfish fry. I have had catfish fry. I've done
Peruvian
catfish.
ceviche. I would try that. I've never had I don't know what the difference between Peruvian ceviche.
Fresh fried catfish is my perfect fish dish. I'll up you with fresh caught squid that's deep fried because that's freaking amazing.
I don't think I've had fresh caught squid deep fried.
Yeah.
I've had deep fried squid before. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
It's good.
No, that was really good.
Yeah. I think we got a lot of people who have the cilantro soap.
Yeah, all of a sudden I'm seeing quite a few. Like it.
See, I don't have that. I've had cilantro before. I just think that a lot of people just put too much of it on it.
Oh,
and
totally.
It becomes an overpowering flavor. I don't hate cilantro. I like cilantro on things, but I like a balance of flavors. If it's got just too much cilantro and everything tastes like cilantro, cannot do it.
Yep. Crab sticks are nice. I do agree. I do like crab sticks. Calamari. I've never had calamari, although I've never also had the desire to have calamari.
Calamari's all right.
Yeah. I kind of go by the Futurama definition. Like, those are the garbage parts of the fish that no one want, but the rich people. Like,
yeah.
But it's a delicacy and an acquired taste. Yeah, so is scotch, and I think I'll stick with that. Thank you.
Yeah. I've had caviar before, and I remember not liking it, but I'm willing to try it again.
Well, that's definitely a little different than the Kavatka.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's a little bit thinner. It's a full percent lower.
Right.
There's something there's a flavor clinging right at the end of the flavor that's not terrific.
I've seen that before in some stouts, where they will put too much roasted malt in there, and it has kind of an almost powdery, clingy flavor in the back of the throat. I've had that before, and I know what that is. That's specifically from adding too many roasted malts in there. I know because a lot of the stouts I made, let's put a ton of chocolate malt in there,
right?
And then it ended up tasting like that. There was this just weird chalky
eating instant quick.
Yeah, something weird in the back of your throat. It's just like
You said fried squid. Calamari is fried squid. True. Okay. No, I was thinking caviar for some reason.
Caviar is what you're thinking.
Caviar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now have you had caviar?
I have not had caviar.
See,
sorry, I flipped words there.
Yes, it is just if you like things bursting in your mouth, and if you like the thing that's bursting in your mouth to be a bomb of salty fishiness, then caviar is for you. if you
none of those words sounded pleasant.
You remember
those words in that order should not exist.
You remember the Gushers candies in the 90s, and you bite down and okay, think of that, but instead of fruit juice coming out,
and my head turns in a watermelon.
Yeah, salty fish came out.
You're really not talking me into this. Anyway. Yeah, escargot, caviar. Yeah, no, none of that.
I've had escargot, but I have liked escargot.
Escargot?
Escargot,
with your champagne? Champagne?
I've had escargot several times, and I thought all the times I had it was quite delicious. I did not hate it at all.
Nice.
But of course, you drown enough things in garlic and butter, it's going to taste good.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and your head turns into a fish now. Yeah. All right. Well, that's a perfect segue into our beer news for the week. Not necessarily the fish and hated flavors, but just the fact that we have beer news this week. Starting with Samuel Adams brews its Spacecraft beer with Inspiration 4 flown hops. And yes, you read that right. The Inspiration 4 carried hops into space, and they are making beer with those hops.
Right. Apparently StarCraft was taken, so they have to go with Spacecraft. But yeah, this kind of dovetails into
they need to rename these Proton hops or Protoss hops.
Yeah, Protoss hops. need more pylons.
I think that's already a beer. I think there's already
I think you're right. I think there is a beer called
Require Additional Pylons.
Requires additional pylons. Let me see. I gotta check it on tap now. Or does it require additional pylons?
Go Pack Brewing Company. You must construct additional pylons.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought there was one.
Yeah, Remedy.
Oh, sorry, that's a homebrew. That's a homebrew. Remedy Brewing Company. Additional pylons.
Remedy
there it
additional
is.
Pylons. Yeah. Additional pylons.
6.8% New England IPA.
Yeah, there you
go. The more you know.
Yeah. But yeah, this kind of is like what Ninkasi did with Ground Control, where they took yeast into space.
Yes.
Although, I mean, the yeast was in space. I never read that it was ever exposed to the vacuum of space.
Correct. It
I don't think
experienced
it would
zero
be.
G.
Yeah, I mean, what does that do to something? Now these hops could survive in the vacuum of space. I would think you could probably let it float around and be okay. They probably didn't. I don't know if they were in bags. Again, they never tell us what were the conditions. Did they let the hops go on a spacewalk? Get some cosmic rays?
And that would
I don't know.
be like
That would be interesting.
because I also have the Star Trek 10 Forward vodka, which also had grains flown to space, and then they took those grains and made vodka with it. Probably like a 0.02% that actually made it into the grain bill.
Bit of it. Yeah.
But yeah, my vodka has been to space, kind of.
Space vodka.
Space.
I think it's just the idea of it being in space, and there's like this 0.00001% chance that drinking it might give you superpowers. That kind of makes it appealing. You never know.
Knowing you, Steve, you'd end up with Meg's superpower from Family Guy, where she could grow fingernails.
My nails.
Aww.
I just want an adamantium liver. That's all I want.
That break the skin? No, it's not bleeding. But ouch, though. Here we are making 20-year-old TV references.
God, is Family Guy that old already, huh?
Mm-hmm. I want to say it debuted in 98, and that episode may have been 99. Like,
I think so, yeah, because it came out a long time ago.
Yeah.
Family Guy premiered a while ago. Although that episode wasn't, well, what was that? That fourth season? Third season?
No, fourth season was the resurrection in 2007 or whatever that was.
Okay.
So season 1 was on Fox, and I believe it was 98, and then it was canceled after one season, and then they came back.
No, it was canceled. It was canceled after 3 seasons.
No, it was canceled twice. It was
Was
canceled,
it
I
twice?
believe, once after the first season, but then
was it really?
But then they picked it back up because something else fell through. And so yeah, it was slated to be canceled, but then they said, "Oh, never mind, let's keep going." But it was also delayed in production because they didn't know that for like 4 months or something like that. And then seasons 2 and 3 came out, and then it was canceled after season 3. And then there was the long hiatus, like, and
then it came back
6 or 7 years, and then it came back, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that episode was the 3 short films, so it was like 3 7-minute episodes, inside. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what that one was. Mailbag something. Yeah.
Brian's asking about the pivot on my Corsair, and I have to say it's still pretty stiff and it still holds up. I've had this headset for about 3 years now, and it's my daily driver. I use it every day, and it's still working great. The pivot's not loose at all. Although I do now have a 5-year-old who constantly uses my computer now, so we'll see how long that lasts. I'm predicting not much longer.
Family Guy viewer mail number 1 aired February 14th, 2002. So almost 20 years old. Almost 20-year-old reference.
Almost 20-year-old.
There we go.
Man.
Ouch,
all right.
though.
I know.
So yeah, Sam Adams brewing a beer in space.
Not brewing a beer in space.
Shut up,
took
Meg.
hops into space.
Let's go with a little bit of local news here. Portland Brewery
Sure.
Great Notion is launching a mobile game.
Well, this is more than just about the mobile game, because everybody knows. Well, I don't know if everybody knows, but Great Notion is probably the Pacific Northwest's most sought after beer right now.
As far as craft beers, they
As far as
are
craft beers.
They are the In-N-Out burger of craft beers.
Yes, everybody wants them. If you're into beer trading, people will trade 2 or 3 beers for one Great Notion, because they only deliver locally to the Pacific Northwest. It used to be just Oregon.
It used to be just the brewery.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
right. It's. I mean, they even around here, some stores don't even carry it.
Right.
I mean, I found it recently.
Most stores don't carry them. Like, you can't get them at grocery stores. You have to go to special bottle shops.
No, they. I found a few that did now.
Did you?
Yes, the Thriftway in Canby.
Oh, that makes
carries
sense.
them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But they do have it at some limited grocery stores that have an extensive beer selection will have them too.
Yeah.
But due to the pandemic, they really kind of increased the functionality of their mobile app. So not only did they list their beers and whatnot, you can order and have it delivered to your house if you were within 10 miles of the brewery. They would use DoorDash to get the beer to you. And now they're increasing that by, of course, adding this mobile game to it. And I guess the more you play the game, you can get discounts and so on and so forth. But the thing that I think a lot of people and maybe people watching are excited about is at the very bottom of the article, where it says the shipping is also being expanded outside the Pacific Northwest. So they're going to start shipping Great Notion beers to Ohio, Nebraska, Pennsylvania, North Dakota, Vermont, New Hampshire, Kentucky, Virginia, Washington, D.C., Nevada, and Anchorage, Alaska.
Well, there goes all the value we had in beer trades. What the hell?
I know, that's what I was saying. It's like I no longer can have I got a Great Notion beer.
I can no longer trade a Great Notion for a Goose Island BCS 1-for-1.
I know. It's not going to happen now. They're like, I can get that now.
Right, like it used to be I could get like a Fat Stacks or a Triple Stack or something like that, and I could trade that for like a Bourbon County Stout Gold Label. Yeah, just straight up.
It's always nice to see a local company getting big like this, but
now they're getting too big.
They're getting too big. It's like they're
no. You're ours. Stay back.
Yeah. You can't trade with other people.
Right.
You whore. You beer whore.
Ohio?
Yeah. What do you think you're doing over there? Ohio's nowhere near as sexy as Oregon. Come on.
And finally, there was a story that broke last week about a... where's this woman live? I don't even remember.
I don't remember.
Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, there you go.
A woman who was 106 years old by the name of... Gosh.
It's some...
Margaret...
Margaret. There's an old name.
Dilio's home. Or no. Home in Spring Township.
Spring Township.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spring Township.
She was interviewed a week or two ago, and she's 106 years old. And they asked, "How did you live so long?" And
they always do. That's all.
And one of the things that she said was, "I drink a can of Yuenglings every day. I with lunch, with dinner. I opened a can of Yuenglings every single day."
Yeah.
Yuenglings heard of this and sent her an entire truck
of Yuengling beer.
Literally a truck.
Yeah.
Now, not to go for the easy morbid joke, but Yuenglings does realize there's an expiration date on those cans, right?
We're just gonna give it to you a case at a time, just in case. Just.
I'm sorry, I had to do the one joke. What I will say is that is freaking cool. Margaret,
it is cool.
Well deserved, well earned. Congrats on 106 years. And
106 years is kind of late in life to become an alcoholic.
Right? Now I can afford to drink 2 a day.
Might as well.
Yep. Yeah, the brewery drove up a truck. And they gave her 20 cases. Okay. So it wasn't
20 cases.
It wasn't an entire truck full, but yeah. She'll soon be 107 years old, and the silver-haired churchgoer has famously attributed her longevity to drinking a can of Yuengling lager every day. Now she has a free stash for the next 480 days.
That's right.
Congrats, Margaret.
The empty cases could make her cough.
What's funny is there's a couple of jokes just like that in the chat that I literally read while you were saying that.
Oh. Whoops. Well, great minds think alike.
Great minds think alike, yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Anyway, congrats, Margaret.
Yeah.
Can't take you anywhere, Steve.
I know. Just an embarrassment.
All right, moving right along. Starting to get into our gaming news. And the first big thing is that PAX has announced they are canceling their 2022. show.
It's not just 20. No, not the 20. And just PAX South is completely going away.
Right.
They are eliminating that. Like when PAX became prominent, they did a PAX East, and then that became popular, and then I think they did a PAX Australia or something like that.
Yeah, PAX Aus is another one, right?
PAX Aus, and that was very popular. So they decided to try their luck and do a PAX South. But that one did not really inspire, and they said it hasn't really grown much since it started in 2015.
Yep.
And so they're like, sorry, Texas.
Yeah.
We're not gonna expand here anymore. So they're going to be ending the PAX South. So if you want to attend a PAX, which we have before, and we've had some videos, we haven't done recently, which is kind of unfortunate, but
circumstances
happen. Maybe in a year or two we'll come back.
40% of you can't act like adults, so
yeah, we'll eventually get back there. But not to PAX South, because that is gone. So sorry, folks from Texas, but you can no longer go to South.
Yep. Yeah, that was hosted in San Antonio every year.
Yes, it was in San Antonio.
So, yeah, kind of sorry to see it go, but there's a bunch of things that are kind of dropping off because of COVID and related difficulties and whatnot, and this is just another one on that list. So
yep, it's something on the pin that goes away.
Yep.
But you can always come to PAX Prime, which eventually we will go to.
Yes.
And then you can try to drink us under the table, which you will sadly not be able to.
Remember, folks, I'm a professional.
Yeah. Yes. Unless you bring a pickle beer, then Jeff will go away crying.
I'll just do a shot and move on. We'll call it even. What is this, like 4.5% anyway? 4.7.
Is that what the beer is right now? Oh, the pickle beer.
4.7.
Oh, yeah. No, that's not very high. It's supposed to be. I think it's technically a sour beer.
Yeah.
And then those aren't really that high most of the time.
I think I have a sour. I think I have a Breakside sour out in my fridge that is like mid-8s.
I think. Oh yeah, there's some sours, like some of the jammy sours can get really high. I've had a sour that's as low as 2%. So they can get pretty low.
Yeah. All right. I did promise some more VR news out of Facebook's Connect event last week, and let's get into that one.
It's not Facebook anymore, Jeff. It's Meta.
It's Meta. That's kind of meta, Steve.
It is Meta. Although surprisingly, I don't know if anybody knows this, but I think Meta in Hebrew means dead.
We can only hope.
Yeah.
We can only hope. Anyway. So yeah, I told you there'd be some more news coming out later in the show, and here we are. Grand Theft Auto is officially coming, not just to VR, but to the Quest 2.
Nice.
But it's probably not the one you're thinking. I don't mean the Quest 2, I mean the GTA. Probably isn't the one you're thinking.
Yeah.
San Andreas is getting a fully fledged VR port from the same studio that ported LA Noire.
This should be fun.
Which was honestly a pretty freaking good VR port. So I'm kind of excited to see what happens here. There's really no trailer. There's a little bit of Zuckerberg's data impression talking about it.
Bloviating about it, yeah.
Right. But that's it. All we know is that Rockstar is officially developing a port of San Andreas for the Oculus Quest 2 for native VR. I can't wait to not be able to catch that train in 360 degrees.
Yes, I know, exactly. To not be able to do it. I'm sure they're gonna fix that quest. I mean, come on, that's like ever since, like, what was it? Because GTA Vice City had that one RC mission that was like almost impossible to beat. And then San Andreas had the train, which was like, okay, that was almost impossible to beat.
Yeah.
I'm sure because they fixed they'll fix those. They'll fix those. They'll either make it skippable or what? They'll just like make it so it's not so difficult.
Who knows? Or modders will, do whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
So I'm of two minds about this one.
Mm-hmm.
I've played the Doom 3 VR port.
Okay.
It's okay. And by okay, I mean it's playable, but it's not great. The thing with older games like this, yes, you can run them performance-wise in VR a lot easier than you can games with modern shaders, modern polygon counts, modern textures, ray tracing, etc. They're easier to run. And so if you're looking strictly from a hardware limitation standpoint, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're looking from a gameplay standpoint, physics, controllability, graphics, San Andreas is not necessarily the white whale that you harken back to.
This one, because the thing is this one was not built to be first person.
Right.
So there could be areas in there that it's just like, it's not going to be that great.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. I think I remember there is a mod out there that makes San Andreas first person.
There is a first person mod for San Andreas.
And there might be a reason why it never took off, because it's just not indicative to being a great experience.
Right.
So I mean, maybe there's going to be some retooling that has to go along with this game to make it actually
remember
playable.
San Andreas also had helicopters and planes and parachutes and crap like that, but it also wasn't 100% fleshed out as a 3D game. This was only the second take of GTA that had moved into 3D, and GTA 3
it was the third, actually, because there was
wasn't Vice City was the third, wasn't it?
No, because there's GTA that was top down. Then GTA 2 was another top down.
Yeah,
and they had an expansion pack of that, which was GTA London, which was also
London 1969.
Yeah,
and then there was GTA 3,
which was 3D,
right.
The first 3D one, and then there was Vice City.
I wanted to say San Andreas came before Vice City, but I could be wrong there.
It was Vice City.
Okay,
and then
Vice City, San Andreas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, all of these games were based on the GTA 3 engine. And GTA 3 itself was built to be possibly a top-down game, and then late on in development, they took a camera and went like this.
Third person, yeah.
Right. And controllability, physics, gameplay, dialogue, it is very dated. It is very dated. And not something that I think anyone outside of nostalgia geeks are going to get really amped for. So this is kind of a weird entry for me.
Now, if they take, because they don't show anything here, and if they dovetail this into the remaster version, because we do have footage of the remaster, and it's not like obviously onto GTA 5 levels of looking good, but it does look better. So if they use that as a base, if they use the remaster as a base, and then use that as a perspective of putting VR in there, so they fix all the first person perspective fixes.
Yeah.
Then yeah, maybe it might work. I don't know, but
the thing is, you would almost have to build a new engine to make it make complete sense, because as we saw with Skyrim VR.
Yeah.
You can't just take a game and make it a 360-degree parabolic view and call it a VR game. You can't port an Xbox 360 controller into VR controls and say, just swing this and we'll pretend you're hitting B. No, I'm sorry. You're but the weapons don't feel like weapons. I can't touch anything in the world.
Bethesda kind of shot themselves in the foot, too, because they've been using the Gamebryo engine for their Morrowind, or for their Elder Scrolls game since Morrowind, right? I think they really haven't updated that much. They just kind of updated the polygon count, and it's still the same one, and it's not really the greatest engine. And I hope with the next iteration of Elder Scrolls they do something new.
Sure, Steve.
Oh yeah.
They
What
print
am I
money.
missing?
Do you think they're going to bother updating the engine?
Yeah, they maybe. I don't know. After the whole Fallout 76 debacle, maybe.
Hamish says, same with Fallout 4 VR. I actually enjoyed Fallout 4 VR because some of the enhancements that the base game had, like the looting system, made a lot more sense in VR than Skyrim's looting system did, which was menu-based. And Skyrim, you couldn't actually interact with anything. You couldn't reach out and touch things. Your hand went straight through. You couldn't swing your sword. All you did was move your hand forward, and the game would simulate literally a button press for either a light or a hard hit from the direction that you were swinging. It wasn't actually me stabbing something, and stabbing wasn't recognized as an input, so that doesn't work anyway.
When you think of swordplay in VR, you think of the real controls of a sword to be able to move your arm.
I think of Blade and Sorcery.
Something.
I think of Lightblade VR. I think of Vader Immortal.
You don't put swordplay into VR and then just make it a stiff single stroke swing. It's just gonna ruin the immersion. Best to not even do a VR port.
Right. So I understand the desire from studios to take some older games, some existing intellectual property, and create a VR game out of them. The problem is, for a truly immersive VR experience, you have to rewrite the entire damn thing anyway.
Yeah.
And so for San Andreas, what's the point?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. The Skyrim one, yes, that felt like a cash grab.
Skyrim is an abhorrent VR port. It was so poorly done and so poorly thought out, with no thoughts to what a good VR game should be.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, graphically, it does great. It looks great walking in VR, as long as you don't play the game.
Yeah.
If you just want to walk through Winterfell is freaking gorgeous. Falkreath is beautiful. Strolling through the swamps and looking at the giants are amazing. Getting hit by a giant and then vomiting while you're 400 feet in the air, not so amazing.
Rambozo Clown says, Die by the Sword. Die by the Sword would be a good VR port if they can ever make that Mac. I remember the sword mechanics of Die by the Sword being infuriatingly hard if you use the mouse controls.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to do a 1-to-1 stroke simulation using the mouse and a sword.
Jeremy says VR works for FPS or sim games. See, I disagree that there has to be a specific genre. I will say there are certain genres that don't work at all for VR games. At least in the context that we try to port them over with. VR works great as a first-person experience. It works great in first-person shooters. It works great for games like, you've got Counter-Strike, and then you've got Pavlov VR. You've got... trying to think of some other examples, and none are coming to my head. But have you ever tried the Dolphin VR port, which is the Dolphin GameCube emulator, GameCube and Wii emulator, that will output to a VR headset, and your head essentially turns into the camera. And so you can lean in, lean out, but if you're playing a first-person or a third-person game, it still just works. Playing Wind Waker in VR, even in third person, is freaking insane. It's amazingly good. And it's proof that you can still have a good VR game based on an existing game, as long as you follow some specific rules. The rules are, I don't move against my will. You don't move my camera. My camera is stationary and I can look around. You can change my perspective all you want, but do not take my head and do this with it.
And force that with it,
and force lateral or vertical movement. Instant disqualification. And Skyrim VR. What's the first thing Skyrim does when you open from the opening credits? You're on a
Oh, good, you're
wagon
finally
moving
awake.
laterally to your position.
Yeah.
Literally, they broke cardinal rule number 1 as soon as the fade from black was done. Not only that, but they broke every other rule along the way as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Skyrim VR was frustrating. I spent $50 on that. And I am I'm still ticked off from that because it was such a low effort port.
Absolute cash grab.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say I played a good amount of time in Fallout 4 VR, but it's not, and I'm not necessarily giving Bethesda credit for Fallout 4 VR because the enhancements they made to the game engine, because it's based on the same exact game engine as Skyrim, happened to translate better to VR than Skyrim translated to VR. So the object world interactions worked better. The dialogue screens worked better. The menu system worked better because you have a Pip-Boy that you can pull up and look at and scroll through rather than just some like black menu popping up. The looting system was better. The world interaction was better as far as I can actually reach out and touch things in the world and move cans and hit things with my hand. That and the melee combat worked in Fallout 4 VR, whereas it just flat out didn't work in Skyrim. And unfortunately, Skyrim has either bows and arrows or melee combat. Yep. So there wasn't a lot of options. Although when Fallout 4 VR launched, you couldn't use scopes, because they hadn't figured out how to magnify the screen into the scope using whatever technology that is. I forget there's a specific name for that technology. Texture or something or another. But anyway. Yeah. So I don't necessarily give Bethesda credit, even though Fallout 4 wound up being a much better VR port, because I think they got lucky more than good.
Well, I mean, they obviously put some effort into it, a lot more effort into it than they did Skyrim.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Half-Life Alyx kicks butt. Half-Life Alyx should be seen as the gold standard that every VR game needs to strive for, as far as first person goes.
That was built from the ground up to be a VR game.
Right.
Though. I mean, that wasn't like a port. So
right. Half-Life Alyx was built to be a VR experience and be a AAA style
VR experience,
VR game. And from the ground up, it is a VR game, and it's amazing. And because they thought of the control interface, of the physics, of how you would actually move and interact with the world, it works so incredibly well and so fluidly. Just think of Half-Life 2 as far as the world interactions go versus San Andreas. Games from a similar era.
Wasn't Half-Life Alyx, wasn't it a derivative of the Boneworks engine, though? As opposed to like the Half-Life 2 engine?
No,
because the Boneworks one was built with an engine with VR involved in mind.
No, Half-Life Alyx was Source 2. Source 2 engine, if I remember correctly.
But I think Boneworks was a Source 2
Is
game,
Boneworks a Source 2 game?
I think so.
I don't think it was. Unity. No, Boneworks is Unity.
It's Unity. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, right. No. Half-Life Alyx, I believe, was Source 2 engine. Alyx was a game to show devs how to make VR games, and that's exactly right. That's why Valve. That's pretty much always why Valve makes a game, is they say, here's how to make your game better. Because we're the de facto standard.
Well,
we've almost never missed.
They never miss because Valve cancels more games than they create.
It's true. It's true.
They triple, double, and quadruple check to make sure this is going to be a good game, and if it doesn't meet that standard, it's just like, no, we're printing money anyway. So well, I guess what was the card game they put out that didn't really quite?
Oh yeah,
that one didn't really pan out. But I was never a big card game guy.
If I'm gonna play cards, I'm gonna collect
I'm gonna play
cards and
cards.
play them.
Yeah,
Like,
not on. Yeah,
Right.
that was never my thing.
yeah. But no, like Half-Life Alyx should be seen as the gold standard because it truly is. It is everything you've ever wanted in a VR first-person shooter. And a quasi horror film and an adventure game and a platformer and a puzzle solver. Like, it has elements of everything, and it kind of flows in between those genres perfectly.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of everything in there. Now, there's a couple other games that have come very close to that level of immersion. I'm thinking of Duck Season.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Yes.
Wasn't that a good one?
Season. It was short, but it was very fun.
It was
and
short.
Very immersive.
It was basic. It was like you're only ever in two different environments.
Yeah.
But they built a story.
It told a story.
And the interaction was perfect. Was picture perfect. Everything that I thought I could do in the game, I actually could do in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Boneworks is kind of that same way. Although Boneworks, the movement system, in my opinion, the locomotion could use a little bit of improvement. I will say that I spent 90 minutes last night playing the Blade and Sorcery update, the update 10.
Yeah.
And holy crap, not only did that game go from like good to great in the course of this update, but they've nailed almost like every physics aspect of a sword fighting RPG fantasy game that I could ever want. Like it's everything that I want, and it's a glorified tech demo at this point. So,
but it's still fun to play.
Fun to play, right?
Yeah.
Like I played it for 90 minutes, and I was smiling and laughing and like I was dying of laughter a couple of times because of moves that I pulled off.
If they can actually build a story and a game around that thing from beginning to end, that would be amazing. It'd be a lot of people.
Right. If Skyrim used the physics engine from Blade and Sorcery, I would have zero problem.
Yeah.
And I would I'd probably die because I would never take the headset off for food.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what some of these VR things are picturing.
Right.
Because like right now, the 90% of most VR games are just tech demos that are gimmicky, that are just like, they're kind of there.
Right.
No one is really trying outside of Valve to make a AAA story-driven
original
game. That's the original game that's based
ground up
VR.
VR.
Yeah. Not an afterthought, but like built up around VR.
All we're getting, and even this far into this thing, I mean, when did the original Kickstarter with Palmer Luckey go live? 2012, 2011?
Oh yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been almost 10 years, and the only true AAA game that we have that was built from the ground up for VR is Half-Life Alyx. That's the only game that I would pay $60 for.
Yeah.
Maybe Fallout 4, but even Fallout 4, I'm questioning $60 because you already did 85% of the work, and I already paid for it once.
Right, yeah.
So, and it's not a true VR port because there are still some things in the game that don't work well. So I have a hard time paying you a full retail price for another game that I already paid for.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. I mean, they're just piggybacking off the success of the brand name Fallout.
Right, but here we have San Andreas and Fallout and Skyrim and Medal of Honor. And I will say Project Cars has done quite well, although it's much easier to translate a driving simulator.
Well, yeah, that like driving simulators, flight simulators,
right?
Those are automatically right in there with VR.
Right. I mean, there's not much you need to do.
There's not much you need to do. Yeah.
Other than make sure the person doesn't get sick while they're doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I mean, you're already sitting in one location.
Right.
Things around you, you just need to move your head.
Sit down VR, way easier than first person VR.
Way easier than first person VR. Yes. Especially, I mean, if you're going to do driving VR, even if it's a stick shift or something like that, some way to make the stick shift kind of interact with how you. Well, do a virtual
that's why I had
the
whole
cool.
rig. I mean, I built that for the Oculus DK2.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking like a virtual stick shift. I don't know if they have virtual stick shifts in there.
Not that I've
Just,
seen.
like, put your hand.
Not
I've
that
not
I've
seen
seen.
that before either.
Yeah. But no, I had the Logitech wheel and the paddle shifters, and I had a Thrustmaster TH8RS, which is
I remember the whole thing.
7-speed shifter. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that whole rig. It was fun.
Yep.
I remember first sitting down on that and just being like, it felt so like immersive.
Yeah.
Until you hit that first curve, and then your mind is telling you should be feeling some G-forces.
Right.
But I'm not.
Right.
Well, why is that?
Yep.
And then it takes you like a couple laps, and then your body gets used to it.
Yeah. I've got pretty good VR legs. I'm not gonna lie. Like jumping around in Blade and Sorcery and like doing some like 30-foot leaps, I can do that just fine now. Although my very first experience in VR, not just like a tech demo, but like playing a game with full body or with some positional tracking in it.
Right.
Because the Oculus DK1 was a rotational tracking only. Your head was locked in 3D space, and all you could do is do this. If you did this, the headset didn't know what to do.
Didn't do anything.
It didn't do it. It didn't change your perspective or at all. And so, like cockpit and racing games were the only thing you could do. The DK2 came out, and it had some basic positional tracking with an infrared camera that sat on top of your monitor. And you had to be facing the monitor, and there were no controls for it, except Razer came out with a set of controls called the Razer Hydra, which also had their own tracking sensor that sat on your desk, and you had 2 controls that were wired to that sensor that you couldn't turn away from, that you had to be facing at the same time. And so you're literally tethered, but way more tethered than even we think about it now, because I can't even turn more than 90 degrees in either direction before I'm starting to pull on the sensor cables or my headset loses tracking or whatever else.
Yeah.
There was a version of Portal and Half-Life 2 that they made work for the Razer Hydra. And
I do remember that. Yeah, someone did it. It wasn't specifically from Valve, that somebody had modded it.
Half-Life 2 was from Valve. Portal was a third-party mod.
Okay. I remember one of them was.
Right. Yeah. And with Half-Life, you put one of the controllers, like, you literally, like, just duct taped one of the Hydra controllers to your chest. And that would track your body position and body direction. And then the Oculus would track your head direction and location. And then you held the second controller, and that would track your hand location. And they integrated things into Half-Life, like look at your wrist for your health and stamina, and look at the back of your wrist for, or it was ammo count and then health and stamina on a watch. And it was like, that's a perfect integration. Like, that makes so much sense. But if you've played Half-Life 2, which you probably should have played Half-Life 2,
by now, everybody should have.
You remember trying to escape from City 13, and at one point you have to jump onto the back of a moving train.
Yeah.
Try doing that in VR.
With a VR, yeah. Doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel like everything in your body is saying, don't do that. But you're standing up at like 1024 by 768 resolution, and you're looking at this train approaching, and you go, I have to jump, and your body's going, nope, I'm gonna stay right here. Like, that is among the most freaked out I've ever been in VR. And since that point, I have, like I said, really good VR legs where
after that,
you can disassociate my head with my body all you want, and I'm perfectly fine in 90% of circumstances.
When we were still doing that VR above the tap house in John's. And what was it? We were doing I can't remember the name of it, but it was like you have to do a couple shots before you did stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, what was
it? It was a small tiny game. They had like 3 different mini games.
Yeah,
one was like you had to take a couple shots, and then you're supposed to shoot an apple off of your friend's head.
They were literally drunk challenges.
They were drunk challenges. Yeah.
One of them was playing William Tell with a revolver. One of them was skateboarding across the street.
Yes, and the other was like moving across the street with a walker.
Right. There was the walker challenge.
Yeah. The skateboard one was the one that got me the most disoriented.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh, I I almost fell over. It was like the first time I was in VR. I was like, this made me feel like completely out of my element, and I almost like tripped and fell. It was crazy.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of us ever successfully did the skateboard run. I don't know how they thought that would work in real life, especially with someone who's supposed to have a couple of shots in them first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you didn't have real shots. They just made the camera shake a little bit, so you kind of felt disoriented.
Right.
And
but we also had shots first. But,
yeah, we're in John's tap house, of course.
Right.
We had beers and shots and whatever.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was fun.
Moving on to some other gaming news. Blizzard has announced that both Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 have been delayed, quote, indefinitely.
Yeah. Now, indefinitely, I that's one of the words I don't like that people use. Because people see that word and they think that, well, it's canceled. But that's not what indefinitely means. Indefinitely means it's not defined.
Right.
That there's no time defined for it.
Right.
Do you think Blizzard's actually going to stop development on Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4? No. It's just they don't know when it's going to be released.
The turmoil that's going on over at Activision Blizzard right now is involving a good chunk of their senior management, including their vice president who just stepped down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I imagine that previously set deadlines are more like guidelines right now.
Yes, they're kind of out the window right now.
Right.
I would like it if they said like, okay, release date is indeterminate at this point.
Right.
Indefinitely makes people think that it's kind of a clickbaity title where it makes you think that, okay, they canceled it, but of course they didn't cancel it. This is their bread and butter. They're not going to cancel that. But yeah, it was supposed to come out this year, I think. Some of these
2022. Both
2022.
Of them
were. Okay,
yeah.
Both of them were switched to 2022. But now they're not slated for 2022 at all.
Right.
It's an undefined release date for both Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2.
Right.
Which, I mean, honestly, you're right. It makes a lot of sense. Upper management is in complete disarray and turmoil.
Yeah.
Their company model, and to be fair, I think their company has a reputation, even before the whole scandal hit, was kind of taking a bit of a nosedive.
It totally did. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and Blizzard used to be the gold standard, man. Like anything they put out was gold.
Yep. But then they stopped making games and they started making money.
Yeah, that's true.
They're kind of like Valve if Valve was a bad company.
Well, I mean, okay, so the last thing they put out was Overwatch, and Overwatch was fun. I never got into Overwatch as much as I got into other games.
I did play Overwatch a couple of times. It was interesting. I liked the mechanics. I liked the premise of it.
I never played a lot of it, but I have to say that every time I did play it, I had fun. So there was that. I mean, there's at least to be said, but it never really hooked me into something I wanted to continually and always play.
Same with me.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, like after that, they just really didn't have. Well, they had did their card game. Their card game came out after.
Yeah, there was Hearthstone. Hearthstone came out prior to Overwatch. But those are their two most recent IPs. We looked this up a couple of months ago. I believe their last new IP was in 1997 with Diablo. Like it's the last, like beyond Overwatch and Hearthstone.
Yeah.
1997 was the last time they came out with an original IP.
Yeah. Yeah, they just keep rehashing their old stuff.
Right.
Which, I mean, is fine. I mean, come on, Nintendo does the same thing.
Oh, totally. But Mario is different Zelda, every single time. And Zelda is a different game every single time.
In fact, I think I just read something today.
How many times have we done 3 dungeons, unlocked the Master Sword, and then the evil guy tricks us and takes the Triforce, and then we have to solve 8 more dungeons, and then we go kill the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same damn premise, but they do it so many different ways. But
they find a way to reinvent it and make it fun.
Right. It's reinvented every single time.
Yeah.
And honestly, Diablo, I'll give them the same thing. Like, I know it's an endless dungeon crawler, loot gathering, randomly generated. Like, I get it. I get
But if
it.
it's done well, it's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun if it's done well. I've done a lot of ARPGs that are not fun.
Right.
Like they get monotonous and boring. But Diablo, every time they've done it, they found a way of making it fun. Now
Right.
I still think the pinnacle is Diablo 2.
Yes.
Diablo 3 was still fun, not as fun
But
as
it was
Diablo 2,
alright.
but it was all right. I still had a lot of fun playing it.
Like it wasn't even the best isometric RPG that came out in the last like Torchlight 2. You could say was better.
Torchlight 2 was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I played the heck out of Torchlight 2. Torchlight 3 unfortunately was not as good.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? But no, I think I heard that they were in development of making a team-based shooter, very much like Overwatch, but it was going to be StarCraft.
Yeah.
And they canceled that.
Am I finally going to get StarCraft Ghost?
No, we're never getting StarCraft Ghost. Sorry. Everybody was excited for StarCraft Ghost, and it went by the wayside.
That's supposed to be an N64 title.
I still remember when they had they were going to make a Warcraft adventure game.
Yeah.
And they canceled that.
Yeah. Well, they kind of tried to do that with Warcraft 3.
Well, they had the heroes.
They had the heroes,
they had a storyline
and
like that.
whatnot, and they.
But it was supposed to be more like Monkey Island or something like that,
right?
But with Warcraft,
right? So StarCraft kind of laid the foundation for introducing heroes, and then Warcraft 3 introduced having heroes, but having them be like RPG elements inside of a real-time strategy game, which eventually led to World of Warcraft.
Right. Yeah. Well, actually, I think the hero concept led to Dota, because it became a mod.
Well, that'd be Valve, right?
No. The first Dota was a mod
of World
of Warcraft.
That's right.
Or not of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
And because of the hero concept.
Yep.
But yes, the MMORPG and hero concept and Warcraft just seemed to make sense.
Right.
And they dominated that for years.
Tribes?
Which I think they're still
Tribes, anyone?
I think. Oh God, fuck! I love Tribes. Tribes 2 came close, but man, the original Tribes just can't.
Hold on. Liam says Ghost leaked. You can kind of play it.
Can you really? I've never heard that before.
I know what I'm doing tonight if that's the case.
I've seen the leak. They did a leak of the Warcraft adventure game, and I remember playing that a little bit. But I've never heard of a Ghost leak. Oops, excuse me.
Playable on modded Xboxes.
Really?
I'm looking for it. I may or may not have just found an Xbox ROM download for it.
Yeah, I'm seeing some footage.
Yep. Allows Xbox users to play it. I wonder if it's playable in Xenia. I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah. Although all of those are always so disappointing because they're never really a cohesive type of a thing.
Yeah. How did I not see that though? That was in 2020.
Yeah. I don't
know. One more news story.
One more. And this is one that kind of dovetails into stuff that I think we talked about last time I was on.
Yes.
And this is like because Battlefield is kind of near and dear to my heart as one of my most favorite I guess series of games. Yes. So I've loved Battlefield since Battlefield 1942. And I've loved certain versions of it, not every single one obviously. But this one is shaping up to be something that I'm kind of most excited about, mainly because of this particular feature right here that they hinted at when they first kind of announced 2042. But this is where they're going to actually get into a lot of detail about what this is going to entail, and that is the Battlefield portal.
Yes.
So Battlefield Portal is their interface that allows the user to basically create the rules for the game that you want to play. Where if you want to make Nazis versus modern soldiers and, uh, World War II fighters versus, modern
Zombies.
fighters. I don't think they got zombies in there, unfortunately.
Yet.
But yet. But everybody was speculating, okay, what's this going to look like?
Mm-hmm.
They finally announced today the portal, the Battlefield portal, and this article right here pretty much outlines everything that they're going to do. The maps that they're going to use, the limitations that you can have, the limitations you can set, what modifiers you can place on the thing, what the parameters you want for the game, all kinds of things that you want to use to customize how you share it. In fact, you don't even have to own the game to be able to go in and start messing around with the settings.
Right.
You can, once they have this released, if you have a EA account, you can go in there and start messing around with the settings, and you can set something up. You can't play it unless you have the game, obviously, but you can mess around with the interface and start creating your own game modes. And it's pretty in depth with what you can do. They have it all the way down to like some rudimentary kind of rules editor, where you kind of piece together rules to kind of make yourself a unique kind of gameplay experience. Yeah, I'm kind of excited about this. This is something that's kind of want me to like break my rule of never pre-ordering a game. I kind of want to play this. I probably still won't, because I just know that there's going to be a bunch of glitches and stuff that they're going to want to have to hash out.
Yeah. When
it first comes out. But the thing that sucks is I think it's gonna be pretty close to being released around my birthday. And man, that's gonna be awfully tempting not to pick it up. More games tonight in the after party. I think so.
Maybe.
That
was fun last week.
I would do that.
That was a lot of fun last week.
I would do that.
Last week, me and the mods ventured the Oregon Trail thanks to the net guy. So we'll see if he's got any other Apple II goodness to throw our way. Or is Jeff still awake, or is that an AI doppelganger? We were joking before the show that I need to get all of my yawns out before I hit stream, because holy crap, I am tired today.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but I've had a rough couple of weeks, family wise, work wise, like everything has just been like, I feel like kind of a punching bag for the last couple of weeks, and I'm finally getting out of it, and I'm finally like getting back into the groove and feeling like myself again. But I also have an 8-month pregnant wife, and so I've been kind of picking up a lot of the things that she normally handles around the house and whatnot. And so I'm burning the candle at both ends and trying to keep, keep up the spirits.
Keep the stiff upper lip.
Stiff upper lip,
right?
And keep, but it also wears on you. I mean,
yeah, I know it does.
Yeah. But yeah. But yes, I'm starting to feel better, but I'm just barely starting to catch up on my sleep. So
it's more important to have some good-hearted fun with the lads. That's gonna give you some pep in your step.
Yeah. Fire up that 2GS. I need to make sure I still have a 2GS boot disk. I know I have disks somewhere, but whether or not they still work, I'm actually not sure, because I haven't turned that thing on in like 5 years. I also have a Mac Color Classic. So we could do like Color Oregon Trail and all fun stuff like that. Like, how good are you guys at Swamp Gas? Like, right? Let's get into the weeds for some classic Mac games. Yeah. But yeah, no, last week, NetGuy hosted on original hardware a venture through the Oregon Trail on the after party. John died, which was hilarious.
Of course, he should.
Yeah,
he's in reality, he is weak. He would die on the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
He wouldn't survive, unfortunately.
Yeah. He's the one we all expected to die, and lo and behold.
Well, I mean, he is saturated in liquor anyway.
Right.
So if anybody should be cannibalized and be delicious, it's John.
So,
He's literally barrel aged.
right.
His meat is barrel aged.
Right. I mean,
already. I mean, right
what
now,
I'm hearing is if John breaks a leg, we can just grind him up in a blender and then serve him as a puree.
It's gonna be a meaterita. It's like it's already imbued with liquor in there.
Drop in a couple Costco Polish dogs and call it a day.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
What's in the Bloody Mary, John?
John, this is John.
Oh, net guy. Oh, you are so awesome. Diapers still ain't cheap. This should cover some 2GS retro games. Time for a TRS 80. Most fun I've had in some time.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah. A TRS 80. That is old.
Giving Steve a run for his money now.
I know. I never had a TRS 80, but I had my cousin did have a TRS 80. I went over there and played it quite a bit.
Yeah, I never had a TRS 80. The first computer that I remember having in the house was a Macintosh LC2. So 1988, 89 era.
I don't even know if this would be considered a computer because it's kind of a hybrid, but it would be the Atari 1200 XL.
Okay, yeah.
Which had a full functioning keyboard, although it was still kind of a console thing and still took cartridges, but it did have peripherals on it where you can plug in a floppy disk drive, you can plug in a plotter printer, you can plug in a tape deck. There was a basic cartridge. There was a rudimentary operating system that you can plug in and use. It would still play games like a cartridge, like a normal cartridge, like the Atari 800 and 500. It still was backwards compatible with those. But if you wanted to use it as a personal computer for doing spreadsheets or whatever, they had things for that. So I had that.
Yep.
But then after that, it probably would have been the Amiga 500.
Yeah, that was kind of common.
What I had, Amiga 500.
We had the Macintosh LC2. We had we had a couple of PCs kind of around that era as well. In the 386, 12 megahertz, 20 megahertz kind of range. The big jump up for us was when we got the DX2. The 486 DX2 66 megahertz. Oh,
right. Yes. I remember those.
And all of a sudden, like, oh, it's on. Like, I can play Wolfenstein? Sweet.
Well, back in the day, my dad worked for digital computers. And so he did bring in some deck systems in there, but these were not these were not made for home use. These were like for office use only.
Yeah.
And he had some just because he worked for them, and so he brought some home. And I think there was one, it wasn't meant for home use, but you could still play Zork on it. So I remember playing Zork on that.
I remember at one point my dad was given a laptop for work. And I want to say the laptop was a 486 with a passive matrix 640 by 480 screen, which if you all want to talk about input latency on a LCD screen, you have no idea what passive matrix even means. Yeah. But I remember playing, was it Conquer the Deep was the submarine game?
Sounds familiar.
There was a submarine simulator that I played on that. There was Tank Wars. There was Jet Fighter 2, Advanced Tactical Simulator, I think was the name of that one. Yeah, there was a lot of games that I played with like 2 seconds of screen latency.
Yeah. I remember, I think I know exactly which sub simulator you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can almost picture the case.
The 16-bit Tandy graphics.
Yeah. Oh, man, I don't remember what it was called. It wasn't Silent Hunter. That's too new. It was before then.
Silent Service.
Silent Service.
Look up that one.
Silent Service. Yes, that's the one. That is exactly the one.
Yep.
Microprose.
Yep. Yeah, you had the goggle or the periscope.
Yep.
Silencer. Yeah. No, I had the box for that. I had everything for that.
Yep.
Good times. Good memory. Falcon 3.0. You ever play Falcon?
Oh yeah, Falcon.
Yep.
Well, and I never played Falcon, but I knew about it.
Yep. Now I just want to play Scorched Earth. Yeah, no, back in the day,
Scorched Earth was fun.
Back in the day, so I started with Tank Wars and then later moved on to Scorched Earth.
Scorched Earth was the evolution from
right,
Tank Wars.
Exactly. Yeah, that was fun.
Save the pickle beer for Rhett. He'll drink anything. No, actually, I don't think he will.
No, he won't.
He won't.
I will say I haven't had a chance to talk to anyone since the filming. Shall we say
of the beer?
Yeah. So for those who haven't seen it, we drank a 75% beer to call an end to John's current studio. He's moving into a new place and getting a new studio built and all that kind of fun stuff. But we drank the Scottish Fire. Which is a 75% beer.
Is it beer? Yeah. I think it's not really a beer, but whatever. It was not good.
I have to say, honestly, I didn't hate it.
It wasn't my most hated beer or hated drink of all time.
Consumable,
but
right.
I would have to say it is the one that probably gave me the most pain. I think even the next day...
I think you caught the worst of that because I watched the video a couple of times and I'm like, oh, Steve is suffering.
I don't know what it was. It just hit me wrong. The next day, my throat was still kind of scratchy a little bit. I thought I was coming down with something. I'm like, oh, am I coming down with something? No, it's just it burned me that much.
Yeah. No, it was really weird. If you haven't seen the video, the first drink was literally like Red Hots and Scotch.
Yeah. It was...
Now, also on my first drink, it opened up for like a split second to like citrus and pineapple.
You were the only one.
I was the only one that got that.
No one else got that.
Right. But it was very clear, and I even got it after waiting 20 minutes and then trying it again. I went, nope, there it is again. I get it. Which I think just means I'm the best beer reviewer out of all of you.
Yeah,
I'm getting these deep hidden notes that just eluded your
you just
as sensitive taste buds.
You drank a wax candle before you came, so your throat was coated. You're like, it didn't matter.
May have been sipping on a little Sensi on the way. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But every single drink was a little bit different, and in its own special, unique circle of hell.
Yeah, it was. It was like taking a sip down Dante's Inferno.
Yeah. Because, like I said, the first drink was just like, we're going to kill anything that might be able to receive taste. Like, we're just going to go through and hellfire and napalm.
Yeah. The funniest thing was after we had drank that and the cameras were off, we took some, what was it? Was it
Seagram 7?
We just took some Seagram 7. And it tasted almost like syrup. Because it was so sweet.
You know what I got? I didn't even get sweetness. I got lemon water.
Yeah, it felt so light.
It tasted like water with like squeezed lemon in it, and that was it. Yeah. That was Seagram 7. Yeah. Never have I drank I like Seagram 7, and I still will occasionally just pour myself a little snifter neat and sip on that for a while. Never ever have I accused Seagram 7 of being smooth.
Yeah. After that, it was smooth.
It was
kind of a weird phenomenon.
Yeah.
Now, after having something so strong and poignant and harsh, and to go back to Seagram 7 and be like, oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. That's like.
Now there's also a cut that didn't make it to the video that the Discord got to see, and that is me comparing it to hand sanitizer. That was a fun episode. If you haven't seen that video, go look it up. I did make a post of that. It's on my channel. You can find Hops and Brews from there. Go watch that video because that was a heck of a lot of good fun.
It was fun.
Anyway, I think that's going to do it for episode 208 here on Talking Heads. You can catch us every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news right here on YouTube. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. Follow me on Twitter at Craft Computing. Follow Steve into glorious battle, I guess.
Yeah. On Steam. You can find me on Steam.
You can find him on Steam. But good luck anywhere beyond that. Yeah. Anything else? Anything else? Good to the order?
No, I'm good, man.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. I think that's going to do it then. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, we will see you right here next week.
See you guys.
Cheers, everyone.